What's up, YouTube? Back to make another video today. We're going to be using the FX hybrids. I got another 100 of them in the mail, and I got a chance to shoot one clip so far, and I haven't messed with my tune on the gun yet. It's still set up the same from when I was shooting the video with the JSB Mark II heavies, the 34 grains, and it was shooting those excellent. One thing I did change from that video is the moderator on the end. I have a couple dang.ol.winner Ronins in all calibers, and with the JSB heavies, the factory can or moderator, whatever you want to call it, the thing that comes on the end of the Wildcat when you first get them, with the Mark II pellets, the 34 grains, that moderator worked great. And as far as sound goes, you know, it's fairly quiet. I'd say it makes it backyard friendly, and I have it's set up. You know, the Wildcat's set up with a pretty powerful tune right now. Just to kind of see what it would do as far as barrel harmonics. When I was shooting these hybrids, they weren't quite as spot on as the Mark II pellets, which was fine with me. I figured I'd have to work up a little tune for the hybrids. But I swapped out moderators and didn't change anything else, and just by doing that, it actually tightened up my groups pretty good. I was pretty impressed. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that on there. That's the only thing I've really changed since then. My regulator pressure is set to 150 bar. My hammer tension is maxed out, and from maxed out, it's about 3/4 of a turn back in. And I'm on power setting number 7. So we'll do, I'm going to shoot this first group of 50 here from this spot, and then I'll switch out to the different lane, and I'll be shooting out to 96 yards. And when we get out to that distance, I'll go ahead and throw the chronograph up on my bench. I got a little spot for it, and I'll shoot some rounds over the chronograph just to see what speed we're shooting these hybrids, because I actually don't know what it's going to be shooting them at. When I first got my power plenum and my transfer port installed, I did shoot a few hybrids over the chronograph, and it was shooting them at 1,030 feet per second, so it was shooting them with plenty of speed. So we're gonna get started from there. I'm gonna shoot a 50-yard group, and we'll do 2 5-shot groups, and we'll kind of take a look and see what it does, and then we'll try and go back in our range if everything's working fine, and we'll shoot some 96-yard groups towards the end, and then we'll kind of reflect on what it took to get here, to get these hybrids to group, and some future updates for the channel. I got some kind of exciting news. That's news I'm excited about towards the end. This will probably be the last set of slugs that I buy from anybody, but we'll talk more about that in a bit. So let me get things set up, get the targets hung up, and we'll get to shooting. Before we get started off here with the shooting, I'll just give you a quick run through. We are shooting the hybrids, the 26 grain for 25 cal. Just in case you don't know anything about the rifle yet, I do have a power plenum, which is installed right here. I do have a huma transfer port installed in there as well. My reg pressure is at 150. My hammer strength is right at 7, and it's maxed out on the pretension. I'm running the dang.ol.winner Ronin, and I think that's about it. My scope is an Argus BTR made by Athlon. I think it's a 4-24, or maybe a 6-24. Can't quite remember, but it's a good scope. I'm happy with it. I'm using Eagle Vision adjustable rings. I would recommend adjustable rings on anything that you plan on shooting slugs at, just so you can make it out to the ranges that you want to. You know, these are capable of shooting out past 100 yards. But just a quick rundown. Let me get the camera set back up, and we'll start shooting the 50-yard groups. Okay, we've got everything set up downrange. Got a target there for you guys' viewing, so you can see what's going on the targets. And we'll fire off one burner shot. This is a fresh fill. I only fill this thing up to 230 bar. I think a gauge upgrade is probably in the future. I'm pretty sure the fill gauges on these aren't too accurate, but I fill it up to what says 230 on the fill pressure, and that's where we're staying, just to kind of stay consistent. So let's get started. 50 yards, and we'll put 2 separate 5-shot groups. All right, let's walk down there and take the tape measure and take a look at those groups. And you know, before I walk down there, just so you guys can see, bear with me here and see if I can get this thing to work. .51 yards, 50.8. So there's our distance. Okay, here we are. So we've got two 5-shot groups. Now here we had 2 dead center, and then we had 3 fly off here. I'm not sure. It seems like I always with the hybrids get 3 in one and 2 off to the side. Let me get the tape measure out. So we'll go from, let's see here. So from outside there to the outside there in the bullseye, that's 1/2 inch. And from here, this one's a little bit spread out. It's probably a little over 1/2 inch. Yep, that's 3/4. So that's not bad. I was tempted to shoot one more group. I think I'm gonna shoot one more group, and I'm gonna take a look at all these hybrids and make sure there's no shavings or anything on them and see if that improves any of our grouping here. But let's do one more 5-shot group on this bottom target. See if we can get it any tighter. Okay, for this next group, I kind of looked at all the pellets or the hybrids. And if you've ever shot hybrids before, you kind of notice that they've got a lot of shavings on them. The hollow point has a lot of shavings, and sometimes a cup will have shavings stuck onto them. And if you're going for the most precise groups you can get, that'll make a difference. Anything that throws off the stability or the aerodynamics will influence your round. You know, at 50 yards, not so much, but definitely out at 100 yards. So I kind of cleaned these ones off, and I'm not going to shoot from the bag this time. We'll see if that makes any difference. And we'll see if this next 5-shot group is any tighter than the last one. Let's check it out. Shoot a few more there. Okay, so that's kind of what I thought. I get some, now you can call it what you want. If you can call it the gun, maybe. I was able to hold it pretty steady for 50 yards. I'm on 15 magnification in between 14 and 16, and I can hold that scope right on that dot. And you can see several of those shots went in the same hole, and we had a few flyers. So I'm not sure what you can call that. You know, I don't know if you can call that discrepancies in the slugs or what. But ever since I've been shooting these hybrids, and I've gone through, this is now like 1,300 sleeve. 1,300 once I finish these, and I've never had a group that didn't have a few flyers. So I think that's still pretty good. But let's go down there with the tape measure and check it out, and then see what the group actually is. Okay, here's our group, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it looks like, all right there. Now, my thumb will cover that edge to edge with those two outliers. Let's see if we can get hold a hole here on that main group. So that's still 3/4 of an inch with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this little hole right there, that's about 1/4 inch. At the end of the video, I'll go with the calipers and we can kind of measure these groups a little bit better. But that's not bad. You know, minus those flyers, these ones right here, and this is the outline of a penny. That's what I traced right there. That group right there, you're gonna be able to hit, you know, animals, squirrel-sized body at 100 yards every time. So let's move some stuff around. Let me set the targets up at 96 yards and relocate my bench. We'll also, I'll shoot these over the chronograph and we'll see what speed they're shooting. So let's get stuff set up and I'll see you in a flash. All right, so I've got the chronograph set up and I've got a target set up down there. I'm gonna load the rest of these up and we'll get started with, first I'll put 3 shots on a steel target that I have down there. And I'll read you off what the chronograph is saying. I can show you. And then I'll go ahead and put the groups on target. So let's get started with a couple chronograph shots and see how consistent it is and what speed we're at. Okay, that's 1,064. $1,046, that seems more like it. $1,055. So there's our speed. Should be right around the 1,040s. Okay. Let's go ahead and shoot our groups on target and see what we're grouping at. Okay, switch to the next target. I'm going to shoot this one without the bag. Okay, so we're still shooting chronographs, still up there. We're still at 1,066. So let's walk down there and measure our groups. Okay, so the 3 shots that I put on the chronograph, I had 2 stacked and 1 right there. And then we have these, which is not a good group. We're at 2 inches, 2 inches center to center. This one up here, that's 1 3/4 inches, which is not good. I wouldn't shoot these at anything at that distance, really. I can try shooting 1 more group. Actually, you know what? I don't want to spend the time. We can take these targets back and measure them with the chronograph and do some final talk. These are going a little bit fast. I bet if I try to tune it down a bit, I might be able to tighten up these groups. But I'll meet you back at the table and let's go over some final thoughts. Okay, before I put everything away and go back to the final talk, I did want to show you guys on camera that the Wildcat was shooting these hybrids at this speed. These are hybrids in there. Hopefully, let me see here if you can focus on this. You can see the hollow point. You can see all these little cut bases. And I just want to have the camera on there over the chronograph just so you won't take it, take my word for it that what I was saying is shooting is what it was shooting. So we'll just run a few through here. There we go. All right, so there you go. That's pretty consistent. I did notice that after adding the power plenum, it took, if I let the rifle set for a while, it took about 2 shots just to get the regulator. You'll hear the regulator. If anybody who has an impact with the power plenum will know the sound I'm talking about. It's the hiss of the regulator refilling the plenum. And since I put the plenum on there, it's been much more consistent, but I noticed that I have to do about 2 burner shots to get, kind of dump the air that's in the plenum at the time to cycle in some new one and get it to shoot real consistent. So you can see from the chronograph there, the first shot was a little over 1,000. The next shots were all very consistent, right around 150. And I've kind of noticed that if you keep your hammer and your reg pressure in tune, I put out a video like a week ago, I think it was the last video, about keeping your hammer strength and your regulator pressure kind of in balance with each other. If you can do that, it'll lead to much more much tighter groups. You'll have your standard spread will be lower, and your standard deviation from shot to shot will be more consistent. So that just kind of shows it right there. I wanted you guys to see that the Wildcat with the power plenum and that huma transfer port has plenty of power to push these hybrids. The only other gun I've seen shoot these hybrids like this is an impact with the power plenum. So you have plenty of power here in this platform to shoot these. I'm sure I'll be able to find a group for those. But let's go back to the bench and we'll talk about some upcoming things on the channel, and we'll go over the groups that I shot. Okay, we're back here to look at some of the groups. I've got the old calipers out this time just to kind of give a more accurate measurement. These are our, loosen this up. These were our 50-yard groups. And from outside to outside, we're at 8.6. I'm sorry, 0.86. So over 3/4 inch. On our next one, we're about the same. And our last one, where I shot without the bag, if you take the total group, we're even probably at 1 inch, over 1 inch. But if you look here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, let me see, 5. Now we'll count those 5. So our tightest group out of here, for 5 shots, we'll discount some of these other ones, it's barely over 1/2 inch. Same right there. So it's not so bad, you know, you can reliably hit stuff at 50 yards with that type of grouping. But when you move it out to 96 yards, you know, that's not good, at least for accuracy. Now, because as I said in the beginning of the video, I just kind of left the tune where I was shooting my other 34 grain slugs. And I kind of want to just show you guys that this setup, the Wildcat, will shoot those hybrids at a fast enough speed to get them to group. Now, when I first started with this Wildcat and my road to trying to tune them for the slugs, they were only shooting 950, and that wasn't quite fast enough. I wasn't quite satisfied with that. Let me get this switched over. Okay. So when I first started, this was shooting a 955 out of the box, and you know, the groups were kind of similar to what they were getting at 50 yards now. It wasn't much of a difference, and I kind of thought this, I was figuring that speed would help out. At one point, I took this 25 caliber Superior liner and I put it in my impact, my Power Plenum Edition impact, and it was shooting really good. It was shooting under ½ inch, and then I had to send my gun back for warranty repairs, so I took the barrel back out, put this back together, and I got it back, and now I believe that this has enough speed to get a group. And if I played around with this and these hybrids coming down in speed, I'm sure I'd be able to find a group where it tightened up, and I might be able to do that in a future video. But earlier in the video, I said I kind of had some exciting news. For me personally, it's exciting. I invested in a slug swaging setup from Corbin. If you're not familiar with what slug swaging is, it's the process of squeezing lead into a preformed die and creating your slugs. The Corbin is probably the leading manufacturer for swaging dies, like worldwide, and they're super busy. And I placed the order about 2 weeks ago, and I've been dying to tell everybody that I've got this on order, but I'm not quite sure when it'll ship out. When I spoke with the guy, Dave Corbin, I believe is his name, or Dale Corbin, I can't remember his name, sorry for that, but I called the company and talked to him about what I was looking for, what I was trying to do, and he's a very good guy, very easy to talk to, full of information, and he was real friendly over the phone, told me everything that basically that I needed. If I knew certain things that I wanted, say if you even called him and you knew what caliber you wanted, and told him what you wanted to shoot, you know, that you want to shoot targets or you want to shoot varmints or whatever it is, he'll get you set up. He'll give you all the numbers that you need, and he's had, you know, the stuff that he puts out is very popular, and it's stuff that works. So he was able to put me together 2 packages. It wasn't cheap. I'm not rich at all, by no means. You know, I work for myself as a contractor, and I sell firewood. And you know, kind of, I don't have too much extra money. Whatever little money I do get, I spend in my hobby. But I did sell my boat. I used to fish a lot, and I haven't been fishing since for the last couple of years, not as regularly as I wanted. So I got rid of my boat, and with that money, I kind of invested some money back into slugs. So I got a 25 caliber setup and a 22 caliber setup. The 22 caliber setup is going to be for 217 diameter. Kind of did some research, and there's 216 diameter, 217, 218. 217 is kind of in the middle, so, and that's what the hybrids are in 22 caliber, so I figured I'd go with that. And I'm looking to make 2 different types of slugs, and I'll be making the hybrid style, which is what's called a hollow core slug, and I'll also be looking to make the standard traditional slug, the regular hollow point. And I can't wait to get that stuff in. A lot of times with the slugs that I get shipped in, or you know, that I order from, you know, I don't know if it's the fact that I live up in the mountains and the delivery driver has to go through bumpy roads, but I always have a lot of slugs that are damaged. You know, usually it's more than 1 out of 10. And that will affect your groups if you're trying to go for, you know, the ultimate accuracy at 100 yards. So, you know, being able to swage my own stuff is going to definitely lead to improved accuracy. And I can't wait to get that stuff in. I've got lots of lead to go with it, and I'll be making them nice and soft so they'll expand whenever I get that stuff set up. I'll be making a video on how to set it up so you guys can kind of look and see if it's something that you guys would be interested in, or just to see what the process is of what it takes to make slugs. So I can't wait for that stuff to come in, but when it does come in, I will get it set up, and that'll be its own video. And ultimately, I'll end up getting a 30 caliber dies as well, so I can make all the calibers. And as soon as I start making slugs that shoot great for me, I'm going to start working on the long-range videos again. And we're going to push, I have high hopes that I'll be able to push the Wildcat to, you know, pretty far distances and be consistent with it. So that's something to look forward to. As far as for today, I did try to go over some of the stuff on the gun to begin with. You know, I got the power plenum that I have is a 2.5-inch power plenum. I did get it from 910 Airgun Tuning. It's 910 Airgun Tuning and Repairs.com. The guy that runs that site is a great guy. If you have any questions, you can reach out to him, and he's always been very helpful every time I've had questions about any kind of products, whether it be FX or others. But that's where I got that from. I got the huma transfer port. I actually bought it overseas at the time when I got it, but now since then Utah Airguns carries it. TrenierOutdoors.com carries it, and there might be a few others. You know, there's, forgive me if I'm overlooking the other sites that do have it, but that's what I've got on here to shoot that fast. And you know, there's plenty of speed there to shoot anything in the 25 caliber platform. You know, anything within reason or that you can go purchase in the stores. So it makes it a very versatile platform. Before, I thought I was going to have to, you know, stick with the impact to get any kind of speeds like this. But, you know, 1,053, I think we hit that number a couple times on the chronograph. That's pretty consistent, and that's a fast speed for these hybrids. So the takeaway from this video is that if you do invest in the Wildcat, there's lots of room for expansion as far as the versatility of it. You know, you can buy. I spent the power plenum was $75 plus shipping, and the huma transfer port was, I think, $30, and I paid another $30 to ship it from Europe. I got it from crawl.com. And that's what I spent on top of it. And, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal to install them. That's pretty simple. And now I got plenty of power to kind of do whatever I want with whatever ammo I want, whatever I want to tune for it. If you guys have any questions about any of the stuff that I went over today, leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. And the next video I'll probably be working on is going to be a review of the air tank. I got a nicer air tank from Joe Brancato over at airtanksforsale.com. And I'm still waiting to do a review on my BP-17. That thing shoots great. I'm just waiting for an adapter for a silencer because it is loud right off the bat. That's an excellent gun, super compact, real fun to shoot. It's an Adaman BP-17, but the only thing that, only knock against it is it's kind of loud. It's not really backyard friendly. For here, it doesn't matter, but for me personally, I like to have very quiet guns. I don't like everybody to be able to hear everything when I'm shooting. And it's not that I'm trying to hide nothing, but I just like a quiet gun, you know, why not, if they offer it. So those will be coming through in the next couple of weeks, and like I said about the slug video, that'll be out as soon as I get the kit in. And I don't know, it could be another month before I get them sent out, but when I get them, I'll go over everything. So thank you guys for watching again, and look forward to putting out some more videos for you guys. Thank you.